Have you ever thought about scarcity mindset? That feeling that there is never enough. Not enough money, not enough time, not enough love, not enough friends, not enough opportunities. Specifically, how the modern world is quietly engineered to make us feel that there is never enough, and how underneath all of it, the culture is training us to believe that there is a limited pie and someone else's slice is a threat to ours.
For sure. And we're going to name this clearly today because we have both lived in scarcity mindset in different forms, like being in a very specific version that we have inherited from being in a South Asian household, immigrant kids. And we certainly do not want to pass this mindset on to others, especially to our kids.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Chocolate and Spice Talk. I'm Neha.
Hey everyone, I'm Nidhi.
We're the co creators of Chocolate and Spice Talk, an initiative where we are building a community around being open, being curious, and learning out loud together. We do not shy away from tough conversations.
And we are engineers with MBAs. We have spent our careers in tech. Chocolate and Spice Talk is a space where we talk about all the parts of us that do not fit neatly into a job title. For example, being sisters, or being moms, or being immigrants, and right now being women in our 40s.
Today, let's talk about a tough topic. So, in this episode, we're talking about scarcity mindset not just as an idea, but as something both of us have lived, especially like Nidhi said, as South Asian American women, where scarcity can show up in, money, success, relationships, parenting, comparison, and even on how we make choices.
All right, let's get into it, Neha. Let's first define the word that we are talking about. It's get like thrown around loosely.
Okay, yeah. The classic frame comes from Stephen Covey's Seven, sorry, The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, which was written back in 1989. He described what he called the scarcity mentality versus the abundance mentality. And scarcity is what he called the zero sum paradigm of life, the belief that there is only one pie, and if someone else gets a big slice, there is less for you. Abundance, in contrast, is a deep inner sense of personal worth and security. It is the paradigm that there is plenty out there and there is enough to spare for everybody.
And then there is a woman who I think has written the most about this concept beautifully. Her name is Lynn Twist. And she has a book called The Soul of Money. And she says, when you let go of trying to get more of what you don't really need, it frees up oceans of energy to turn and pay attention to what you already have, right? I mean, she talks about these toxic myths of scarcity. Number one, there is not enough. Number two, more is better. And number three, that is just the way that is. So these three myths run silently in the background of most of our daily lives, I feel like.
Yeah. And scarcity is also not just a feeling, right? Like it feels like it's a tax on our ability to plan or think and make good decisions. And when we're stuck in it, we have less room to see abundance even when it's right in front of us. And that is what makes this a trap, right? So there, Bennett Brown, who I really, really respect and love, and I know you do as well, has said about our current culture that a culture of scarcity is defined by this sentence: never blank enough, right? Never rich enough, never thin enough, never productive enough, never rested enough, never young enough, never a good enough mom or a wife or a daughter or a professional, never enough.
Yeah, I feel that in my bones actually. And she says, anecdote, and she says the opposite of scarcity, it is not abundance in some fancy spiritual sense. The opposite of scarcity is actually enough, not more, just enough. So I think that's what we'll talk about today. Like we'll talk about scarcity where it shows up loudest in a modern life, like money, relationships, time, options. And we're going to give like specific examples of how we have felt scarcity in our life and what we are doing to change that mental makeup.
All right. So let us start with a scary topic, and even scarier one: money.
Yeah.
What do you think about money from a scarcity mindset perspective?
All right, let me start with numbers. So, Schwab did a study in 2024 and they asked American how much money would you need to feel wealthy? And the answer was 2.5 million. To feel financially comfortable was 778,000. And it gets wilder that the survey was done by the category of people who are called Henrys, which are like high earners, not rich. And so, you know, that makes you feel like what is enough, and that is a very different perspective for different people, because what is enough for you might not be enough for others. But these numbers are wild.
I know because the thing is, it's a lot of, I don't know what to say. Like, money is a very specific topic, and everyone has a specific framework that they grew in. And mostly people compare. And that's how, like, once the basic needs are met, I'm not talking about basic needs here. Like, once you're fortunate enough to have your basic needs of, fooding, clothing, housing, basic security, basic environmental security. After that, how much more money do you need? That becomes like a comparison game. Like, maybe you came from a certain section of a population, or your parents had certain amount of money, or you saw a certain amount of money in your family, and then you're comparing yourself to that. Or there's a
Mhm.
possibility that you have moved to a certain neighborhood and the people around you have certain class of money, and now you're comparing yourself to that. Or you're in a certain profession where this title, or this position earns this much money, and now you're comparing yourself to that. On top of all of this natural, well, it's not natural, but social constructs, there is the social media, which of course always puts a special, like, its own dagger in everything. And like, we have all those rich men, rich boys, rich girls, rich women.
Rich girls on TikTok content, like, or there's $25 Haley Bieber smoothie, and then there is $6,000 row backs and stay at home girlfriends. So you're right. Social media makes it looks like this is so normal, which it is
So
not.
normal, yeah, exactly. Like, there are those shows that come on TV as well, where there are these rich guys flaunting their wealth, and they're like, "Look at my car," and no, look at my car, but look at my house. No, no, look at my house. And so then you're like, "Oh well, let me look at my house." And you're like, when you thought your house is perfectly beautiful, and what you're driving is perfectly adequate, then you're like, oh, that is another possibility. And then you start wondering if you should have thought of or wanted enough more, and will you ever get it, because, well, that person already got that much. So that's scarcity, right? Like, so you build yourself into believing there is scarcity for you in terms of money.
Yeah, I mean, I think your brain doesn't realize that might also be the curated highlight, right? And your brain reads it that all your peer groups are doing better than you, and your reference points move, and you start feeling behind on money, or how much you're supposed to have. But there is also a counter movement these days, which I think it's actually great, and it is like called loud budgeting. And the idea is, instead of quietly hiding that you cannot afford something, you say it out loud. For example, you say, I am not going to that dinner because it doesn't fit my budget this month. Or I'm not going to have that because I am not in a position to spend that kind of money. So it's a small language shift that flips the power back to you. And I love that because, scarcity thrives on secrecy. So the moment you can start talking about honestly, I feel like scarcity starts dissolving.
I love it. I love it. And like, again, a lot of social media and the kind of content we talked about, that is supposedly entertainment, the clickbaits. And so the flashier it is, the less you have to think about it, the more it'll take off. But then you have to pause and realize it's just entertainment. It's as if you were watching fiction. You don't compare yourself to fiction, right? And so, yeah, to your point, then you have to come back to yourself and really ask, am I happy? Is everything going on fine? Do I really need that fancy coat or dress? Or if I want a dress like that, are there other options? So it's quite possible. And then acknowledge to yourself, and then be okay with acknowledge to anybody who asks. Like, you don't have to put up a show. So you're right. Like, scarcity mindset comes from this constant need to pretend you are somebody, or you have something that you just don't. And as soon as you give that up, you can have abundance with money, at
And
least.
yeah, exactly. And I'll share like a personal story, because my husband and I, we both talk about this constantly. And each year we work hard, our pay goes up, we are saving more towards retirement, and then there's always still a urge to have more. And in our case, a part of it is also immigrant context, right? We left so much behind, so we've come here, so we have to build a really good life, and we are ambitious. But I struggle with it, and that sometimes my husband and I are not on the same page, because you know he has this thing of keep pushing, we should build more, we should have more. And uh, and I always say there is a number, right? and we walk backwards from that number to where we want to be, right? And then there has to be a time when there is enough, but I feel like that number keeps going up and up and up. And then we keep striving to reach that number, and we keep trying, and that's fine. I think it's there's a difference between like growth from curiosity and growth from scarcity. And I just feel like that's such a gray line, and I still struggle with it sometimes. But yeah, I just wanted to share.
I know. It's very hard because there's also a little bit of worry involved. To your point, which is, well, what if we were able to save this much? Then whatever happens tomorrow, we have this much, and so you want to like ensure as much as you can, push yourself right now, and then that kind of builds more worry. So it's a bit of a vicious cycle. Yeah, so that's why I said this is one of the toughest topics that we'll talk about related to scarcity mindset. It's probably not a very good solution all around, except balancing yourself.
All right, let's move on to your favorite topic, which is relationship and friendship, and the friendship recession that's going on. Like, how do you feel about that?
It is such a favorite topic that I have finally figured out that I don't care. So yeah, for our viewers, I have typically been a less social person in the sense that I'm more of an introverted when it comes to hanging out with a lot of people, and so I've typically had far fewer friends than neither you have had, right? And that has always played on my mind because our family, not just you, our entire family is a very social family, a heavy set of extroverts. Everybody talks a lot and they have a lot of friends and a lot of community. And I've never enjoyed that. Like, forget thriving, I just don't enjoy it. I get tired. And I have always been told I'm missing out on something. And so all my life, I thought there was a problem with me. And, like the idea that I do not have a lot of friends. By lot, I mean like even a handful, like 5 or 10 friends, which, for example, you have. And I'm like, I don't have that many friends. I have just a couple of friends. Is something wrong with me? So that mindset I've come out of now. I am very happy with myself. I would like to have social connection, and I have my social connection, and I am able to move on to new social connections. I do not need to constantly worry about it. And another thing I'll quickly add is, besides my own family telling me that I need more, it's also the media. It's also sometimes research, right? Like longevity research. The number one thing they'll be like, forget food. Yeah, sure, eat healthy, eat. But the most important thing is have a lot of social connections. Bad news for introverts. you know, I think what they're trying to say is no matter what your personality is, know that you have somebody to talk to. But I think the other angle to that is some people just do not feel better when they talk to others. Sometimes they would like to introspect and be with themselves, and they feel perfectly fine. And that should be recognized, in my opinion. What's your opinion?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, even though I'm an extrovert, I have friends, and it's not like I have a huge circle. I have like a handful of 4 or 5 friends, and I'm very protective of them. But when I see others, like there are people who go out for trips with like 20 of friends, and I'm like, I have like 4 or 5 friends, and to even meet them for a quarterly lunch, the planning starts like months and months in advance. So I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And that's a scarcity mindset. It's like, should I be doing more? Should I be spending more time? There's scarcity of time, there's scarcity of like responsibility, there's scarcity of like, am I doing enough? And that is what now I don't think about it. Like, I know this is my circle. It will only reduce, like, it's not going to grow, because as you get older, it's harder and harder to make friends. I mean, you can have a community, but to have like true close friends who understand you, that is probably not going to happen a lot. But I do want to talk about like scarcity in a different form of a relationship, which is like marriage. And in this, when my husband and I first got married, I had this scarcity mindset without knowing it had a name. And I believe very quietly that the more I did, and the more I would be valued. If I cooked more, if I planned more, if I anticipated his needs even before he said, and if I said yes to everything, I would be a great partner. And I was actually doing this, without being happy. So I was like doing it for the wrong reasons. And eventually came a time when I was like, what if I don't do this? Am I like less worthy? Am I like less loved? And then, but eventually I was like, okay, this is not working. every relationship is a give and take relationship. So it's not my job, because putting that pressure on myself and creating this scarcity mindset, it's not working for me. But anyway, I finally I had some wisdom, and I made myself happier, and that has, strengthened our relationship too. But I think that was a little bit of like scarcity mindset, where I was operating out of a wrong reason. So
Yeah, I think, I mean, I ditto. I did that for a very, very long time. And I didn't even realize, like, now when he was saying, I was thinking back to it. I'm like, yes, for me also, to, apart from the normal insecurities, it was scarcity mindset, which is probably they're both combined, which is, if I do not level up to this,
mhm,
whatever I thought, my
mhm.
husband never asked me to level up. I'm like, this is the level. If I don't level up and others have apparently leveled up, then what's going to happen to our relationship? It's just like, it's just, now when I think about it, it is laughable. I cannot imagine that I had the mindset where I had to behave a certain way for my husband, to fill up an apparent gap which only I created. And in a way, you know what, when I say I created, it's because we were both influenced by what we saw, right, in our social settings as well. And so we were like, this is how a woman is supposed to behave: always cook, always clean, never sit down. Remember, like when we were kids, and even when we were grown ups, right? Even today, I
Yeah.
think even today,
Okay. Yeah.
we are not really living with our, like, more extended family. But if we were to sit down for a minute, people would be like, "Oh, were you sitting down the whole time?" Like, the idea being, were you not doing something? And so that is the scarcity mindset, which is like, time apparently is so precious that you must constantly do something. And we often make jokes of that with men, but men never had to. In their own way, I'm sure they have to, but not the way we have to. Where, like, there are these jokes where, oh, in that same period, a woman has thought about what she's cooking, what she's wearing, what did a friend say, whatever, what's tomorrow's planning going to look like, and the man is thinking, how is the soccer match going, right? Like, that's it. That's it. And apparently, therefore, women are great because they're multitaskers. Like, no, why do we have to do that? Like, time is time. Take your time, be present in whatever moment you are. I so yeah, I mean, relationships are a great place where getting over scarcity mindset and knowing that you are enough and with what you're doing is going to be great for our sanity.
Yeah. And there's one more version of scarcity that I want to talk about, because I think a lot of parents will be able to connect with it, is like a parenting scarcity. So, the 18 summer narrative that we have been fed, and every mom listening probably have heard about it. It's like you only have 18 summers with your kids. This is like the best stage of their life. Blink and it'll be over. And you know what, I lived in that for a while. And because I made a choice to just have like one kid, and never in my life I wanted to have like a second kid, and Vikram is my current 7-year old, is just the one. And there was a period in his childhood which I felt like everything is the last time he would want to read a kid's book to me. Last time he's holding my hand and walking. Last time he crawls into a bed over a weekend. And I was so busy like holding on to the stage that I was grieving that the next one is even before it arrives. So I was literally living the loss before the loss. And this is such a poor way to live, right? I was like, this was not helping my mindset or odds. I was like, I have it. It's not a good way to spend my time with a kid, thinking of, oh, this is the last thing ever. Because every stage is beautiful. That I had to shift my mindset. It's like this crap that we are fed, that this is the best time. Okay, it is a good time, but every stage is different and every stage is beautiful. So I was like, all right, he's going to be 10, maybe his moods will change. He's going to be teenager, moods will change, but that is also going to be beautiful. And it's like, okay, it's the way it's fed to you. It's like, this is the best time. Anything after that is not the best time of your life. And I hate to subscribe to that that way of living.
Oh, I can confirm that that is not true. I interestingly, for me, when my son, who's 20 now, he was growing up, I was so living in the moment. I was so mired in the moment with him at that time that I don't think I truly realized I must regret it. And thankfully, I was not so much on social media, so I totally missed the memo that I'm supposed to regret anything. Until, of course, he did turn 18, and then I'm like, where is my baby? It's like he's all grown up. So it's a different matter altogether. But yeah, I totally agree. Like, Yeah, every minute is not going to come back. Or the minute right now we're talking to each other, that's not coming back. Should we sit and regret about it? No. Like every minute is precious. Live it, enjoy it, and then move on. And that's perfectly fine. Our parents, like we have, I know you document Vikram's life so much. You have so many pictures. I documented a little less than you at that time. And do you know, you remember how many pictures of our childhood?
Yeah.
Our parents have hardly any. I
I
have
know.
literally three or four. And that's it. And they're very happy. They remember what they remember, but they learn to move on. And I think we are a product of this culture of save every minute in a photograph and then save it on a drive and then buy the drive because you're running out of space to save your memories.
I feel that. Oh my God, this amount of money I spend on storage, it's ridiculous.
I am like, it is a never ending loop.
Yeah.
Never ending loop. Save everything, save everything. Like, I feel like we have been marketed and hyped up to be like, you got internet, you got like digital photography, save everything, and you shall never forget. How many times do you have to keep going back to that moment? If you remember, remember, otherwise move on. It's okay. So yeah, I mean, all of those also build scarcity mindset to greatly. It plays on your head insidiously without realizing, right? Like capture the moment or it's gone.
I know. I'm so guilty of that. I feel that, but yeah, I'll get better one day. Anyway, on to our next segment, which is the feeling of left behind. I feel that a lot. I don't know how you feel about that, but I feel that I sometimes there is the time when I feel like I am behind on savings, behind on relationships, behind on friendship, behind on kids, behind on aging parents, and then there's a constant thing that telling me that I can do better. So yeah,
I mean, that I think is an interesting one, right? Like there is a little bit of pull here, which is a little bit of pull if you are ambitious, and if you're ambitious, great, that's okay. Then you have something to vie for, like then you have something to work towards, and that's okay. We all want to keep having challenges in our life and keep working towards it. But when it becomes a bitter obsession,
hmm,
which is like, oh, this person at the age of 45 reached here, like she is, I don't know, she is a chief product officer and I am not, um, that is not going to play well because everybody lives lives in their own way. Everybody's a different personality. Everybody has a different brain structure and different way of learning and just different contexts. So comparing yourself to anybody else is a definite way to doomsday. Instead, if you compare yourself to yourself, which is like, yesterday I did that, or a year back, that's where I was. I would have liked to be here. Quite possible you will not reach, and then you have to be okay, kind to yourself. But then if you pull yourself a little bit, not because that other person became a VP, but because you have reached it. Like that's what I've learned about myself, especially in career. Like, first of all, career, definitely, right? Like career is a very hard, how do I say, like very hard, intense, hard hitting game almost, which is there is no end to comparison. And the kind of profession like you and I are in, technology, the ability to grow, the changes, the the amount of complication and chaos is just too much. And then on top of that, if you add your own complex desires because of comparison, there is no winning. Versus if you realize, okay, I am working, I'm working hard, I'm doing these things, this is where what I feel like doing right now, and I've learned this much, you will automatically have grown to a place. And sure, you would have liked to attach a title to it, like, oh, I am now a VP of this or a director of this. Well, if you get it, awesome, work towards it if you're ambitious. If you don't get it, it is okay. It is not the end of the world to get a certain title. So like having that kind of clarity is important. And that is just career, which of course, like I said, is a very, very hard place to be in, right? It's a very, very competitive world that you and I live in. On top of that, we have our own whole family thing, right? Family and kids, and like, are we missing out? The second kid thing, like you and I have talked about it so much. Oh my gosh, the moment I entered my, because I had my first kid when I was in my 20s. So by the time I entered 30s, people were after me. When's the second kid coming? When's the second kid coming? You'll miss it out. I'm like, I don't think I want. I don't. And I had to like, I then changed my mind. I'm like, oh, maybe I want. And then I spent all my 30s trying for my second kid unsuccessfully. And then fortunately, I hit 40. And then people stop because they're like, okay, that's a lost cause. But even today, people are like, even today, I kid you not, they know my son is 20 and I'm 45. And they're like, what about a second kid? I'm like, I can promise you it's too late. For my body, it's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying, and that's the thing about like being on LinkedIn, and my friends and I will have sometimes have like a group text. It's like we went to school with this person, and this person, I don't know how this person ended up being like where, and it's we discuss it because it's a scarcity. It's like, am I doing something wrong?
Mhm.
That this person that we knew was not great when we went to school together, and now it's like wherever they are. So is it fake, is it just pretend, or am I doing something wrong? So there is like a difference between like healthy ambition and I think scarcity chasing. And it's like, I'm curious, I want to grow, so I have a growth mindset. I love learning, I love building. And then but the line between like growth and scarcity, I feel like is really thin, because I'm pushing towards it because I'm ambitious and curious. But am I also pushing because I feel like I'm left behind? And that's like the scarcity, growths, like its growth is less, and because I feel like I'm behind because AI is taking over and all of my friends are becoming so expert in AI. And now I'm like, I went to a vacation for a week and I feel like the whole world has changed. So it's
Yeah.
like,
The
yeah.
difference is in the resentment. So you are
Yeah.
resenting
Yeah.
somebody else reached there
Hmm.
and you did not, which is the scarcity mindset problem here, because you're like, they reached there, now I won't be able to reach there. And even if I do, like they reached there first. Like that is the problem here.
Yeah.
Sure, like again, we do not know the context, and it could be applied to body image,
Yeah.
looks, right? Oh, that person is that old, and they look so good, or look at their body, or look at their hair. There is no end. And I think like it all comes from the scarcity mindset of, oh, but now will we ever reach that, right? Like, will we ever take that place because it's already taken? Like, what's the point of us trying if it's already taken? Yeah, I think the solution, of course, is always having that clarity of our own purpose in career. Like, what do we want in life? Like, what do we want in life? It has to be very, very clear. Otherwise, it's a rat race. It's a rat race. And then just like our life itself, like, be sure of who you are and be okay with who you are. Easier said than done. I am absolutely guilty. I look at a beautiful face and I'm like, wow. It's not like, usually I love looking at a beautiful face and I will praise the face, but sometimes I'll get into that thing of like, why am I not looking like that? I like, it's
Its
a problem.
comparison is not great. But yeah, I think you're right. Like confidence, being self like secure within yourself and knowing your self-worth, again, easier said than done. There are moments when everybody does it, but in
Yeah.
towards the end of the day, if you don't let it affect your mental health and you don't push yourself to do the wrong thing for the wrong reason, I think, yeah, it's natural, it's just human.
Yeah, and I'll tell you a story. In fact, something that I was listening to from Emma Gerde. She has recently written a really great book. Fantastic woman, ambitious, very powerful. I follow her, and she rarely, like, talks about, like, her vibe is very positive. So she rarely goes on the kind of thing that she went today. And she said, like, a lot of women have come out of the woodworks and they have been criticizing her, in the sense, like, they've been criticizing her for a lot of things, but they have particularly been criticizing and saying, oh, she reached the place that she did because there must have been somebody behind her, particularly a man behind her.
Mhm.
And she said, I have to come and correct this. Even though I do not have to explain myself, I will come and correct this because I worked hard. I did a lot of things. Yes, I had a lot of God gifted talent, God gifted beauty, and a lot of those things, but I worked very hard, and it was me and me alone that made me reach where I did. And that has to be appreciated. Like, why do women feel the need to tear another woman down to prove that they are somewhere. You don't have to do it. You can look at a successful woman and say, what an amazing woman she is. And if you really want to reach there, go ahead, start working towards it. But don't tear her down to make yourself feel good. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's a problem. I agree.
All right, let's move on to the next topic, which is our, which is how we behave because, or potentially because of being immigrants.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Um,
think, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think growing up, as we saw in our family with our parents, we were incredibly resourceful, and a lot of that was beautiful. Like our mom would reuse things and the containers, and she would repurpose, and that's what we learned. We saved, but underneath some of that, we inherited the belief that's, I feel like spending on ourself was almost dangerous, and I think. I mean, you inherited that a lot because you did. I mean, I was a wild child, but for you, I feel like uh, were never able to let go of that spending time on yourself or buying things for yourself is self-care or self-love. So it's like we lived in a scarcity mindset because we were like a middle class family. We did certain things the way it was, but does it serve us now? Like, are we carrying it for the right reason? I don't know.
No, I 100% agree. This is something that I hadn't even thought about until you raised. Why do we do what we do? And the examples for those who may not be familiar with this is we have a tough time throwing out, say, old clothes. Like, as we were growing up, and we, like Nidhi said, we came up from a middle class family, and so we would not let go of old clothes. Like when you get brand new clothes, first of all, you get a limited number. You get brand new clothes, you wear them. Once it gets slightly older, then you start wearing it in home and not go outside. And then once it gets even older, then you sleep with it. Like that becomes your night dress and you sleep with it. And if it starts tearing off, then maybe you use it as a rag to clean the house. So you use it to the far bitterest end of that cloth, which now we all realize from a sustainability perspective is awesome. But the mindset there was not necessarily sustainability, which was not a word then, but don't waste money, like use it as much as you can. Same thing was done with, we had those wrappers, those unfortunately plastic bags or those paper bags and all that could never be thrown out, that had to be saved. Every single thing had to be saved, like containers had to be saved and could be reused and recycled. All of that, great idea if you really think about sustainability. But if you have to apply that lens to it versus the scarcity mindset of fear, especially if you are again if you're lucky enough or privileged enough to not have to worry about it, in that case you have to shift your mindset so that you're not always worrying, you're not like hoarding things, because how could you possibly let go? What if tomorrow something happens? Instead, you are being very mindful of what you want to keep and what you can throw or donate or do something with it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Is like what doesn't serve us, we have to let that go. We keep the wisdom, but yeah, I mean, sometimes we just have to outgrow
Let
it.
go
I
of
think
yeah, and you have to let go of the fear.
let
Like it's
yeah,
very hard. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
All right, on
100%.
to our last segment. So let's do some of the practical ones. Like, how do we really have practices in our life that helps us, move away from scarcity mindset? So, do you want to get started?
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about five practices, and hopefully they're all very, very doable. They certainly will look like they are as we talk about it. So one is asking what is enough, right?
Yeah. So Lynn Twist has an exercise that I love to do, and it is a question. And the question is, what is enough? Enough money to what? Enough friends to what? Enough time to what? Not more, not less, enough. And when you can name it, the thing is the chase can possibly come to an end, right?
I know, I know. And the moment you answer that question honestly, which is
Yeah.
so hard, right? Answer the question honestly, then you have taken back control. Then you're not dependent upon whatever social media, society, TV, or your surroundings are telling you.
All right. The
Okay.
second one is like three good things. So this is where like you write down some of the things that's going well for you that day. why is it going well for you, and so on. So that, the research has shown that the mental health benefits increases like happiness, reduce depression, so that you can get all the benefits when you put your thoughts to paper. And I do that. I've talked about my gratitude journal. Every night I try to write down what went well today, what didn't go well today, what did I learn, what was a highlight, what was, the low points, which just helps me be grateful for the things I had. I think scarcity mindset can be reduced if you just realize what's working for you.
Absolutely, I agree. And you don't even have to necessarily always write. The writing makes things feel more tangible and real. You can also like think about it, pray about it. As
Mhm.
long as you have that mentality of being grateful and realizing you have a lot to be grateful for, you are basically overcoming that scarcity mindset. Okay. All right, let's move on to the third one, which is the one that I just talked a couple of minutes back, which is to celebrate other women's wins on purpose, right? Like that is, you would think that's a no brainer given our society has only now figured out women's independence, women's liberation. You know, it has been such a hard time for most women, and a lot of women are still suffering and still don't know what they don't have. And yet it is a strange thing. I have seen that all across, right? Like for the women on top, celebrities, all the way to in our social surroundings, right? If you do well as a woman, a lot of people will try to put you down. And
Yeah.
those lot of people are actually, a lot of them are women, unfortunately. So don't do that.
So I have a rule now. So whenever I catch myself feeling envy, especially about another woman, I say her wins out loud. I say it to myself. I call you and I tell my husband. I actively congratulate the person, and I do that publicly. And what it does, it kind of rewires the scarcity response. So that is that her success is not my failure. And I am extremely lucky to work in a place where there are a lot of women leaders. And one thing that I've felt, which is consistent among all women leaders, is they don't gatekeep. If they know something, they'll share it with you, even though, if I learn it very well, it might not benefit them because they are doing that job. But they are never of the mentality that helping others grow will take something away from them.
Absolutely, absolutely. As a woman leader,
Mhm.
like that is a great practice to have, which is you've got the privilege. Yes, you worked hard, you got lucky, you reached there. Spread the luck,
Yeah.
spread the knowledge. Make sure you are able to bring others as up as possible if they're willing to be or they're interested in that. So yeah, I 100% agree with it. Like all way, the way we all grow up or grow higher is by helping each other. It is not as if one woman were to succeed in a certain area, they have taken a strange like place that another woman couldn't possibly. Look at men. Yes, sure, men also tear each other down, but it is to do with competition. It doesn't have to do with the scarcity mindset of, I will not let another woman or not credit another woman because it's going to show me poorly. That's a different mindset.
Mhm. True. All right, the next one is cap the input, which is harder said than done. And so this is a practice which is to limit the scarcity engine, which is your phone or however you consume social media. And there's a researcher named Melissa Hunt at the University of Pennsylvania who ran a study, and participants who limited the social media use to 10 minutes per platform per day for 3 weeks showed significant drop in loneliness and depression. So basically, the more you consume, the more there is a chance that you develop this scarcity mindset, because social media is meant to show the highlight, and then you are doing less of admiration and more of putting yourself in the other person's life and saying, "Oh, I don't have that." That's how you develop the scarcity mindset.
And the part of that, of course, is how you're consuming things, right? Like you could consume the same thing and put a positive lens to it instead of like worrying about it, which is again hard, right? Like our brain is wired to take the easiest, simplest thing. It is hard for us to create friction for our own self. So if social media, which has been designed to make you keep doom scrolling and make you take the easiest thing, you have to then go against the tide and
Yeah.
tell your brain, no, 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 pause, pause, pause. If this lady is showing off her rich, I don't know, Mercedes, let me consider my next plan of, like, if I want a Mercedes, next 5 year plan. Like, rarely will a person have that kind of thoughtfulness. But yeah, like, if you're consuming, like, consume thoughtfully and intentionally, automatically you'll consume less because you have only so much time.
You have
Yeah.
reduced the noise, right? And
Yeah.
one thing that I have started doing off late is I am more of a creator than consumer. So that makes me better at storytelling. Like if I want to post something, I think about what am I going to post, but I don't consume anything. So basically, uh, my interaction is low, but I'm getting better at telling my own story because I'm creating more, but I just don't have the bandwidth to be on multiple channels and doing like I don't spend the time watching things because I have this habit of the more I watch. I mean, I'm not as wise as you. You are very wise when it comes to it. I feel like you are way wiser because I start doing the doom scrolling and then whatever shows up, it doesn't go right for me. So if I know that I have no like if that world is very black and white for me and there's no gray, then I just remove myself from it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Whatever works for
Yeah.
folks. All right. And then the final and the fifth one is to just have fewer commitments, but have them be deeper. Like, what do you want in life? Instead of trying at a meta level, instead of trying five different things, which is taking up all your energy, maybe there are three things that you would want to spend all your energy on. And then on a day to day level, what, like, instead of spreading yourself thin with five commitments, what are those three things that you would like to do today? So the point here is, of course, everybody's bandwidth is different. I gave these numbers randomly. Like, for example, you could do 10 things and you would feel perfectly fine, and I might not be able to. So everybody has to calibrate accordingly. And the point of this is, you don't, this is done so you not think that time is scarce. Time is scarce if you have so much to do that you're chasing time. But if you do everything intentionally in the moment, then you're not chasing time. Then you have abundance of time. So
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah. I totally agree. And I'm so guilty of it because I spread myself thin.
you
I'm
do.
over ambitious and I can do so many things. And then I live in a perpetual scarcity of like time, energy, and progress. But finally, pretty late in my life, but finally I've realized that fewer things done well beats most thing, half done.
Oh my God. I am the same as you. You know me, right? Like, the number of things I start, and then usually my body tells me by falling sick. But what I've learned is, if I do something with full passion and, like, I'm immersed myself in it, I feel okay because I have immersed myself in that 1 hour on that specific thing. And for me, then time flies. Like, it's a beautiful time. And then even if I have to then do the next task, hopefully I'm able to immerse myself and the time flies. So what I've done is, like, curate a list of things I enjoy doing, and then it does not feel like there's scarcity. Like, it feels like abundance.
Yeah. All right, let's just keep it real, like one honest thing. And for me, I feel like I do fall into the scarcity mindset like every week, and I catch myself like refreshing LinkedIn, comparing careers. I catch myself thinking like, am I earning enough? Am I saving enough for my retirement? Am I teaching my kid the right things? Am I doing the right thing by sending him to this school? Am I working out enough? Do I have enough muscles? My scarcity mindset is really weird. But I do I whenever I catch myself, one thing that is very different in me these days is like I catch myself in that scarcity mindset. I realize and I pause and I'm like, is this the right thing to do? Am I comparing my career with somebody who doesn't even matter? I don't even know if that's real. Is it even worth it? So at least the first thing is recognizing that this is the scarcity mindset and then quickly figuring out a way to shift your mindset. And I think that's a practice and it's been helping.
Yeah, for me, it is similar but different. Like, when I see somebody doing well, I am usually okay. Like, no matter who they are, no matter what walk of life they came from, my belief is, if somebody reached a certain place, I first of all do not know what place that is, right? Like, two places that sound the same can still be very, very different in terms of the amount of hard work and the actual position. But beyond that, like you just don't know how hard they worked and what the context was. And so I like to give full credit to that person and say, absolutely amazing that they have reached it. For me, the problem is, and this is so sad, even today it's hard for me when somebody else tells me, when somebody, like, I'll just make this example, though you never do that to me. Let's say you come and tell me, I know, I'm just making an
All right,
example.
all right. Go ahead.
You never do that to me. Like, caveat, audience, if anyone's listening, no, Nidhi never does that to me. But let's say somebody came to me and they were like, hey, oh, you're doing this, did you know, like, that person also is similar, same age as you, right? Like, they're there. And for a split second I feel like I need to defend myself. Like, I could very well, and clearly that person either has no understanding of social life or did it on purpose, but either way, I should not get affected by it. Like, I should have that sense of my own self and say, oh, good for them, great. Why should I be there? I feel great here, right? Like, or whatever, like, or I'm working towards it if I'm really working towards it, however I want to phrase it, instead of truly then starting to wonder, like, what did I do wrong? Why am I not here? That person noticed I'm not there. Like, how do I explain to them? That is a thing which is just hard.
People pleasing skills have not gone yet.
My people pleasing skills
Just kidding.
continue to exist.
No. All right. All right. I think the world is engineered to make you feel scarce, right? Not because you're broken, but because scarcity sells, right? Recognizing that is I think the first act of freedom. So you that's your first act of
Oh
freedom.
my God, I know. It's like, even on TV, right? How do you think these face cream, no matter, look at a face cream ad. Rarely will they be like, oh, here's a face cream applied. Like, has your face been looking dry and, dull recently? And you're like, has it? Like, now
I
put
think
this and
so.
put this on and look how, like, because they say you, right? So they're like, it must be me. And then, like, you have to get over it. And this is probably the simplest, most visible, most obvious example. The more insidious ones are just even harder to decipher.
All right.
Well, this was great. I think I learned as much talking about this and just discussing it as, I could have from any place else reading it. So I'm really glad I was able to spend this time.
Yeah. My takeaways for sure was celebrate other women's wins, cap your input, do fewer things well, and that's the whole thing.
Absolutely. All right. And we want to hear from you as well. If scarcity shows up in your life in any shape or form, or if there's any part of scarcity we missed to talk about, please feel free to DM us, send us a comment, email us. We're always available to chat. And we are also available on our website, chalkandspicetalk.com, as well as our Instagram and, of course, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and wherever else you get podcasts.
See you next time.
See you
Bye.
next time. Bye.